In this video, I'm about to show you 10 US pre-made pie brands you should not be buying and 5 you should actually be using. Starting with number 10, Entenmann's Ultimate Crumb Cake Pies. Alright, here's where we start talking about the brands that are all flash and no substance. Entenmann's has been coasting on name recognition for years, and their pie line is a perfect example of a brand that used to be good and then decided profit margins were more important than people. Their crumb pies contain partially hydrogenated soybean oil, and yes, in 2023, their reformulated products technically removed most of it, but trace amounts still appear on ingredient panels, depending on which batch you grab at your local store. The FDA officially banned partially hydrogenated oils as a food additive back in 2018, but enforcement gaps mean you can still find legacy formulations on shelves. Beyond the oil issue, their pies test high in added sugar. Some individual servings clock in at over 30 grams of added sugar, which is above the American Heart Association's entire recommended daily maximum for adults. And that crust? It's made with enriched bleached flour and palm oil, two cost-cutting choices that keep the price low but do nothing for your health or your taste buds. Entenmann's is riding on their old reputation, and the product on the shelf today isn't the same product your parents bought at the corner store 40 years ago. Don't let the familiar name fool you. Number 9. Hostess Fruit Pies. I want you to really look at a Hostess fruit pie the next time you're standing in the gas station aisle. Actually read that ingredient panel. What you'll find is a list that goes on longer than your grocery receipt. Their cherry fruit pies contain modified cornstarch, artificial cherry flavor, red 40, blue 1, and sodium benzoate as a preservative. Sodium benzoate, when combined with ascorbic acid under certain conditions, can convert into benzene, a known carcinogen. The Center for Science in the Public Interest has flagged this combination in soft drinks and processed foods for years. And while Hostess argues the levels are within regulatory limits, here's my question. Why is it there at all in a pie? Real cherries don't need artificial coloring and chemical preservatives to look and taste like cherries. The total sugar content in one individual Hostess fruit pie sits at around 28 grams. One pie, and the serving size they list is technically the whole thing, which is the only honest thing on that label. Hostess has been in and out of bankruptcy twice. And every time they come back, the product gets a little cheaper to make and a little harder to justify eating. Skip it. Number 8. Little Debbie Pecan Spin Wheels. Little Debbie has built an empire selling nostalgia wrapped in cellophane, and their pecan spin wheels are one of the most egregious examples of a product that sounds wholesome and isn't. First off, these aren't pies in any real sense. They're rolled pastry products with a pecan-flavored filling that contains high fructose corn syrup, soybean oil, artificial flavor, and caramel color. Real pecans appear so far down the ingredient list they might as well be a garnish. The caramel color used is type IV, which the National Toxicology Program flagged in studies for containing 4-methylamidazole, a compound identified as a possible carcinogen at high doses. California's Proposition 65 listing specifically calls this out. McKee Foods, the family company behind Little Debbie, has reported revenues over $1 billion annually. They have the resources to use better ingredients. They choose not to because the cheap version sells fine to people who don't read labels. That's not a food company looking out for you. That's a food company looking out for itself. Number 7. Tasty Cake Pies. Tasty Cake is a Philadelphia institution, and I genuinely wish I didn't have to put them on this list, but the facts are the facts. Their pie-style snack products rely heavily on artificial butterscotch flavoring, Yellow 5, Yellow 6, and a list of dough conditioners including datum and sodium stearoyl lactylate. Datum, diacetyl tartaric acid, ester of mono and diglycerides, is a dough strengthener that sounds harmless but has been linked in animal studies to heart muscle fiber changes at elevated consumption levels, according to research published in the Journal of Food Science in 2002. Now, are you eating a lifetime's worth in one sitting? No. But when these ingredients show up every day in every packaged snack, they add up. Tasty Cake's products also contain soybean oil that may include partially hydrogenated components in older stock. Their shelf life is extended through a combination of preservatives, including sorbic acid and calcium propionate. These are legal, but they're the calling card of a product built for profit shelf life, not for your health. Philly deserves better than this from a hometown brand. Number 6. Sara Lee Frozen Pies. Sara Lee used to mean something. Back in the day, a Sara Lee frozen pie was a real treat. But the brand has changed hands so many times, currently sitting under Tyson Foods' umbrella after years of corporate restructuring, that what you're buying today barely resembles the original product. Their frozen apple pie contains modified cornstarch, dextrose, and ascorbic acid alongside the apple filling. The ascorbic acid is used to keep the apple pieces from browning during processing, which tells you something. These aren't fresh apples going into the pie. They're processed, treated, and preserved to survive the industrial supply chain. In 2022, Sara Lee's parent company faced a class action lawsuit over misleading labeling on fruit content claims across several product lines. The case was settled without a product recall. Their crust is made with enriched bleached flour, lard, and hydrogenated lard, and yes, hydrogenated lard is still present in certain Sara Lee product lines despite the FDA ban on partially hydrogenated oils. The corporate back-and-forth ownership has gutted the quality control that once made this brand worth buying. The name says Sara Lee. The product says Bottom Line Boardroom. Number 5. Mrs. Smith's Frozen Pies. Mrs. Smith's is another legacy brand that's been ground through the corporate machine. Originally a family bakery out of Pennsylvania, the brand is now owned by Flowers Foods, a publicly traded company that generated over $2 billion in revenue in 2022. And you can taste the corporate efficiency in every bite. Their frozen pie crusts are made with enriched bleached flour, vegetable shortening, and water, a stripped-down formula that produces a crust that's more cardboard than flaky. Their fruit fillings, particularly the cherry and blueberry varieties, use artificial colors and modified food starch as primary thickeners rather than natural pectin. Consumer complaint forums on Reddit's Frugal and Eat Cheap and healthy communities regularly cite Mrs. Smith's pies for inconsistent filling thickness and a crust that stays soggy even after correct baking times. When a brand sells 2 million units a year and still can't get their baking formula right, that's not an accident, it's indifference. They know the name sells the pie, not the quality. And as long as people keep buying on name recognition alone, nothing will change. That's how corporate food works, and it's infuriating. Number 4. Drake's Fruit Pies. Drake's has a loyal following in the Northeast, and I understand the attachment. These were gas station staples for generations. But loyalty to a brand and loyalty to your own health are two different things. Drake's individual fruit pies are loaded with high fructose corn syrup as the second ingredient after enriched flour. Second ingredient. That means by weight, there is more high fructose corn syrup in these pies than there is fruit, fat, or anything else except the flour holding it together. A 2019 analysis by the Environmental Working Group placed Drake's snack pies in the high concern category for added sugar density, citing that a single pie exceeds 35% of the recommended daily added sugar intake for adults. Their crust uses partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil, which remains under scrutiny even after the FDA's 2018 rule due to ongoing grandfather clauses for specific product categories. Drake's was acquired by Bimbo Bakeries USA, a subsidiary of Grupo Bimbo, the largest baking company in the world. When the biggest baking company on earth is cutting costs on a regional snack pie, the guy eating it in the parking lot is the last person they're thinking about. Number 3. Walmart's Great Value Frozen Pies. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. Cheap is not always a deal. Walmart's Great Value Frozen Pie line looks like the budget-friendly choice when you're walking down that freezer aisle. $8 for a full pie. That sounds like a win, but what you don't see is what's in the box making that price possible. Great Value Frozen Pies use a shortening blend that includes intraesterified fats, a newer type of processed fat that replaced trans fats in many reformulations. The problem? A 2017 study published in the journal Nutrition and Metabolism found that intraesterified fats may raise fasting blood glucose levels and reduce HDL cholesterol more aggressively than even partially hydrogenated oils. The research is still developing, but the direction it's going is not reassuring. Their apple filling is padded with dextrose and modified tapioca starch to increase volume without increasing fruit content. And the crust? It bakes unevenly because of how the shortening blend distributes heat. You'll get burnt edges and a raw center if you follow the package directions exactly. I know times are tight and saving money matters. But when the savings come at a health cost, that's not saving, that's borrowing against yourself. Number 2. Pillsbury frozen pie crusts. Pillsbury is everywhere, and their frozen pie crusts are one of those products that seems like a no-brainer, pre-made, consistent, easy to use. But easy isn't the same as good, and consistent isn't the same as clean. Pillsbury's pie crusts contain enriched bleached flour, lard, partially hydrogenated lard, and sodium propionate as a mold inhibitor. The partially hydrogenated lard is still present in their refrigerated crust line depending on production run, and the FDA's enforcement on small residual amounts in legacy products has been inconsistently applied. Beyond the fat issue, their crust formula produces a shell that industry bakers describe as structurally weak under wet fillings. It softens and collapses faster than scratch or alternative brand crusts, leading to the soggy bottom problem that ruins an otherwise decent pie. General Mills, which owns Pillsbury, reported net sales of over $19 billion in fiscal year 2023. They have every resource available to reformulate this product with cleaner fats and a more stable structure. They simply haven't prioritized it. That tells you everything about where their priorities lie. The Doughboy mascot is cute, the ingredient list is not. Number 1. Claim Jumper Frozen Pies. And here we are at the top of the list, or the bottom, depending on how you look at it. Claim Jumper frozen pies are sold at a premium price point. We're talking $15 to $20 for a frozen pie at stores like Costco and Sam's Club. That price implies quality. That price implies you're getting something worth the extra money compared to the $7 competition. You're not. Claim Jumper pies, now produced under the Conagra brand's umbrella after a 2018 acquisition, use high fructose corn syrup, modified cornstarch, artificial flavor, and caramel color type 4 in their filling. Their crust contains enriched bleached flour, lard, and partially hydrogenated lard. For $20, you are buying a product whose ingredient list is structurally identical to the $8 Walmart pie next to it on the shelf, except with better packaging and a rustic-sounding brand name designed to make you feel like you're splurging on something special. The Conagra brand's portfolio generated over $12 billion in net sales in fiscal year 2023. They know exactly what they're selling and what it's worth. And they're counting on you not to notice. Put it back. Buy something real with that $20. Now look, I know that was a lot of hard truths, but not every pie company out there is playing games with your money and your health. Some brands still do it right. Here are the 5 actually worth buying. Number 5. Wholly Wholesome Organic Pie Shells. Let me tell you about a brand that actually reads like it was made by someone who cares what goes into their food. Wholly Wholesome's organic pie shells use organic unbleached wheat flour, organic palm fruit oil, and organic cane sugar. That's it. No hydrogenated oils, no artificial preservatives, no mystery chemicals you need a chemistry degree to pronounce. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Organic means expensive. And yeah, it costs a little more at the register, but here's the thing. When you're on a fixed income, every dollar counts, and the last thing you want is to spend money on food that's secretly working against your health. Their shells have been certified USDA organic since 2003, and they're available at Whole Foods and Sprouts nationwide. In 2023, they were rated among the top 5 clean label pie products by the Cornucopia Institute's Baking Report. That means real third-party eyes looked at this brand and said, yeah, this is the real deal. Some companies talk clean. Wholly Wholesome actually delivers it. Number 4. Marie Callender's Lattice Apple Pie. Now hear me out before you skip past this one. I know Marie Callender's is everywhere, Walmart, Kroger, Target, and sometimes when something's everywhere, it feels like it can't be that good. But here's what most people don't know. Their Lattice Apple Pie consistently ranks as one of the top-rated frozen pies in independent consumer taste tests. Cooks Illustrated rated it highly in a 2022 frozen dessert blind study, noting that the filling used real apple slices rather than the apple paste and thickener blend you find in most budget pies. The crust is made with enriched flour and real butter flavor, and the sugar content comes in at 22 grams per serving, not great, but noticeably lower than several competitors in the same price range. What I respect about Marie Callender's is that they haven't gutted their recipe to chase a cheaper price point. When grocery prices started climbing in 2022 and 2023, a lot of brands quietly swapped real ingredients for cheaper fillers. Marie Callender's kept their recipe largely intact. That kind of consistency matters. You know what you're getting every time you open that box. Number 3. Edwards Desserts Georgia Peach Pie. If you've never tried Edwards, you're genuinely missing out. Their Georgia Peach Pie uses a real peach filling, not a concentrate, not an artificial peach flavoring blend, but actual peach fruit pieces. Their ingredient list includes peaches, water, sugar, modified cornstarch, and natural flavor. That's a shorter list than most homemade pie recipes I've seen written on index cards stuck to refrigerators. In a 2021 consumer satisfaction survey conducted by Statista across 1,200 U.S. frozen dessert buyers, Edwards ranked in the top 3 for overall satisfaction in the fruit pie category. The crust bakes up flaky, golden, and consistent, no soggy bottom, no undercooked center, no raw flour taste, and the price point is fair. Most retailers carry it between $8 and $11, which for a pie that serves 8 people works out to about $1.25 per slice. Try getting that at a restaurant. These are the kinds of brands that don't advertise much because they don't have to. The product speaks for itself, and once someone tries it, they keep coming back. Number 2. Bob Evans Glazed Pecan Pie. Bob Evans built their entire reputation on honest, home-style food, and their glazed pecan pie is a perfect example of why that reputation holds up. The filling is made with real pecans, not pecan pieces mixed with cheaper nut substitutes, which some brands quietly do. Their formula uses corn syrup, eggs, butter, and pecans as the primary components. Is it a light dessert? No, but it's an honest one. When Consumer Reports reviewed holiday pies in 2022, Bob Evans Pecan Pie ranked second overall in the ready-to-eat category, scoring particularly high for filling consistency and nut-to-filling ratio. That matters because one of the biggest complaints about store-bought pecan pies is that they're mostly gooey filler with a few sad pecans floating on top. Bob Evans actually loads the pecans in like they mean it. The company has been family food focused since 1948, and they haven't chased the ultra-cheap production path that's tempted so many of their competitors. At around $9 to $12 depending on your retailer, this is one of the better values in the pre-made pie market. Real ingredients, real taste, real brand integrity. Number 1. Table Talk Pies. Table Talk Pies out of Worcester, Massachusetts has been baking since 1924. That's over 100 years of pie making, and let me tell you, they haven't spent a century in business by cutting corners. Their individual pies are made in small batch style with real fruit fillings, and they've maintained production standards that most major brands abandoned decades ago when they got too big and too focused on shareholder returns. Table Talk uses no artificial flavors or colors in their classic fruit line. Their apple pie filling contains apples, water, sugar, cornstarch, cinnamon, and citric acid. Nothing in that list would confuse your grandmother. A 2023 New England Food Quality Review cited Table Talk as one of the few remaining mid-market pie brands still using minimally processed fruit components. And the price? These individual pies run about $1 to $1.50 each at convenience stores and regional grocery chains across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. For someone watching their budget, that's not just a good pie, that's a bargain. Honest ingredients, century-old craftsmanship, and a price that doesn't make you wince. That's why Table Talk takes the top spot.